Welcome to LSB Feaster's Radio Aircheck and Classic TV channel.
Last week, in addition to the base at Westover, the base at Caribou, Maine, Loring Air Force Base, and another base in New Hampshire, Pease Air Force Base, would be affected. The parents of Mary Jo Kopechne have asked a Pennsylvania judge to reject a petition by a Massachusetts prosecutor who seeks to exhume her body for an autopsy. Attorney Joseph Flanagan argued in Lucerne County Court at Wilkes-Barre today that the doubts and suspicions some people have are not sufficient cause to exhume Mary Jo Kopechne's body. Police say they have the bodies of two women they recovered from the Charles River this evening at Watertown. They have been identified as Mrs. May Rawls and Mrs. Ella Johnson, both in their 60s, both from Dorchester. Police said they apparently died of drowning. Police said the women likely had been fishing along because there were 3 poles found at a riverbank near where a pedestrian discovered the bodies late this afternoon. WBZ News Time, 11:03.
Why don't you hop in the car and take a trip to Spain this weekend? That's right. This year, for the first time, Spain is at Man and His World in Montreal. The sights and sounds of Spain, its art and architecture, the fiery songs and dances of Andalusia, performed by 12 leading flamenco artists, the authentic dishes of Spain, served in a restaurant straight from Madrid. Spain is waiting for you at Man and His World in Montreal, along with new presentations from dozens of other countries. And once you've entered this great international exhibition, you won't pay a cent extra to visit any of over 70 pavilions. Plan to visit Man and His World in Montreal. See Spain and tour the world. You won't even need a passport.
President Nixon's top urban affairs spokesman has dashed hopes that the end of the Vietnam War will produce a windfall of federal money for domestic needs. Daniel Moynihan told newsmen today programs already on the books and proposals made by the president will eat up any revenue gained by the war's end. Moynihan warned, "We are not going to let the dream world people thought the war would never end." At the California White House, President Nixon today heard Vice President Agnew's report on hurricane damage along the Mississippi Gulf Coast. Deeply concerned with the failure of forecasters to predict the intensity and the targets of Hurricane Camille, Mr. Nixon directed immediate steps be taken to improve advance warnings of hurricanes and disasters. Boston's weather, fair and mild tonight, a low near 60. Tomorrow, hot again, a high in the 80s. The present WBZ Boston reading, it's 69 degrees. The top story once again, Senator Edward Brooke has sent a telegram to the Pentagon saying that he wants a meeting immediately on the phasing out of the 8th Air Force. If the Air Force is phased out, it would close down Westover Air Force Base at Chicopee. And that's the 11 o'clock WBZ report with portions recorded. I'm Stephen Smith, WBZ News.
254-5678.
Welcome back. This is Jerry Williams. It's hour number 2. Hardly. It's hour number 1, a part of hour number 2. A part of hour number 4. Well, forget it. I'll be here till midnight. And if you'd like to join us with a comment or a point of view, we're delighted to have you aboard at 254-5678 here on WBZ Radio. I was reading the story about A Company from the Boston Globe. And the soldiers told why they would not move. It poured out of them, the sergeant said. They said they were sick of the endless battling in torrid heat, the constant danger of sudden firefights by the day, and the mortaring and enemy probing at night. They said they had not enough sleep and that they were being pushed too hard. They hadn't had mail. They hadn't had hot food. They hadn't had the little things that made the war bearable. Helicopters brought in the basic needs of ammunition, food, and water at tremendous risk because of the heavy enemy ground fire. But this was not enough for these men. They believed that they were in danger of annihilation and would go no farther. Major Waite and Sergeant Blankenship heard them looking at the soldiers, most of them a generation apart, draftees 19 and 20, with fear in their eyes. Blankenship, a quick-tempered man, began arguing. One of them yelled to me that his company had suffered too much and that it should not have to go on. Blankenship said, I answered him that another company was down to 15 men still on the move and lied to him, and he asked me, why do they do it? Maybe they've got a little something, a little more than what you've got, the sergeant replied. Don't call us cowards. We're not cowards, the soldier howled, running toward Blankenship with his fists raised. Blankenship turned his back, walked down the bomb-scarred ridgeline to where the company commander waited. The sergeant looked back and saw that the men of A Company were stirring. They picked up their rifles, fell into a loose formation, and followed him down the cratered slope. A Company went back to the war. Paragon Park's bargain days every Tuesday and Friday. Ride all day, all rides 1 to 5 p.m. for $1.50, or all night 7 p.m. to closing for $1.95. Paragon Park, Nantasket Beach. Let's get to the calls now and comments at 254-5678 on WBZ. Jerry Williams, hello.
Jerry, you were speaking about solid waste disposal
Yes.
earlier, and I don't know if you realize it, probably you do. The Japanese have come up with an idea of compression.
Right, I've heard about it.
Yeah. Well, maybe your listeners don't know
Fine, well, tell us a
that
little more.
much about it. Whether you know how they compress an automobile,
Right.
a junk automobile.
Sure, right, take a big
Yeah.
vice-like device,
And then
compress.
they cover that with asphalt, and they use that when they've compressed it for building blocks, for, highway construction like that.
Mm-hmm.
I thought you might be
It's
interested.
interesting. It really is. I think it's about time that a man devised some system whereby he can get rid of the waste and garbage and trash, and it's about time he devised some system of doing that without filling up the countryside full of dumps.
Well, there's an ancillary benefit there, too, because you don't burn and have all that smoke
Sure.
from those dumps.
Right. Good idea.
I just thought I'd let you know, Jerry.
Thank you very much, Stu. It's 8 minutes past 11 o'clock on WBZ Radio. Hello.
Hello, Jerry.
Yes.
Yeah, I'd like to talk to you about the subject on taxi cabs. You know how they've all been being held up and knifed and everything? On Johnny Carson a week and a half ago when he was in Hollywood.
Johnny who?
Johnny Carson.
Oh, Johnny Carson, yes.
Yeah, they had the designer on. He had his 3 automobiles.
Yes.
And the $100,000 one.
Yep.
They had the driver in the separate section of the car altogether.
Separate compartment.
Yeah, and I think if they, made the new taxi cabs when they come out, they should have the driver in a completely different section of the car. And these glass sliding windows and everything. They on the news the other night they showed, I don't know, about a week ago, they showed how they could slip a knife right through underneath it and a screwdriver. And I don't think those would be much help at all on the taxi cabs.
Okay, well, I'm glad you called about it, and thank you very much, too. 10 minutes past 11 on WBZ. You know what? I was thinking about maybe you'd like to discuss this. Tonight, right now, as a matter of fact, no, it's not right now. It's at 11:30 tonight. Merv Griffin sits at a couch at the left of your screen. Now, what am I saying? Let's start again. Merv Griffin sits at a desk with a couch on the left side. Johnny Carson sits at a desk with a couch on the left side. On his right, of course. On your left. And Joey Bishop sits at a desk with a couch on the right side. They all have people come out for 8 to 10 minute interviews. They all make the good fun. They all do a little entertainment. And they all basically are attempting the same thing. Now here is the greatest medium ever devised, television, in terms of communication. Immediacy, then, now. And Johnny Carson, Joey Bishop, and Merv Griffin are all on at the same time doing the same thing. Now, there isn't one person in the United States with NBC or CBS and ABC, pardon me, these big electronic giants that can think of something different to do, except have Johnny Carson sit at a desk with a couch on the left, and Joey Bishop sit at a desk with a couch on the left, and Merv Griffin sit at a desk with a couch on the left. Now, Not that they have devised anything that's, or they're influenced by anybody else, but Merv Griffin has Arthur Treacher. Johnny Carson has Ed McMahon, and Joey Bishop has the best of all, Ed Yahoo. But would you think that there isn't one particular person in the United States employed by NBC, CBS, or ABC that can devise anything but sitting at a couch with Second Banana? It's the same thing on all three networks. And by the way, taken individually and maybe put on separate times of the day, not opposite each other, maybe it wouldn't be too bad. But all of them are doing the same thing, the same time. What a bloody bore. And not one person in the United States with all that talent employed by NBC, ABC, and CBS can devise anything new or different or exciting. Well, for me, it's back to Jerry Lester and Broadway Open House.
On the lawn you sit near the barbecue pit, the sun shines fabulous. Your furnace sleeps down in the deeps, good time to send for us. One house call, we don't hurt at all, operations a success. And you've won the war against an icy roar called the Montreal Express.
We come in, take the old burner out, slide the new gas burner in. That's all there is to it. No mess or fuss with flooring, radiators, or anything. In no time at all, your furnace will be running on cleaner, cheaper gas heat. Better call us soon as possible so we can get to it right away.
Well, the weatherman just checked the plan of winds from Montreal, and he says what's due when summer's through isn't very nice at all. But he predicts gas heat can fix the threat of icy mess, so you'll have no fear when it roars by here, that Montreal Express. Boston Gas Heat's the only way to beat the Montreal Express.
I was afraid to step on a scale. I stopped looking in mirrors. I was a droopy size 16. And then I started drinking Newform.
Newform, a whole new kind of milk. Low fat, high protein. Newform does more for you than any milk has ever done before. 99% fat-free to help keep you looking great. Plus 20% more protein to help keep you feeling great. Newform from Hood.
It sure doesn't taste skinny.
All right, back to the calls and comments now at 11:15 on BZ, following the Boston Patriots' loss tonight to the Detroit Lions. Hello?
Hello, Mr. Williams.
Yes?
I'm calling from Fort Lauderdale.
Yes, how are you?
I'm fine. I thought you'd like to know that your program is coming in good and clear tonight.
Fort Lauderdale is one of my favorite places.
Is it?
Yes, it is.
Well, I've only just moved down here from Massachusetts, and of course I used to listen to you all the time. But we don't get you terribly clearly all the time here. But tonight happens to be a good night.
Oh, good. I'm delighted to hear from you. Are you down there permanently?
Yes.
And how do you like it?
Oh, I love it because I've known it for several years, and I'm very happy to be living here. But I do miss Boston also.
Can you take the summers?
Yes, because if you have air conditioning, you can.
It is hot, though, isn't it?
Yes, terribly hot. It's beginning to cool off a little now, and the nights are the evenings are getting shorter.
Mm-hmm.
And these things you notice, but on the whole, it's really beautiful.
Fort Lauderdale is the number one city in America in terms of growth. Do you know that?
Oh, I know it is. It's fantastic, the building, and all these high-rise apartments. I think it's sad in a way.
It is in sort of a way. Are you living in an apartment or a home?
No, I'm not. My address is officially Fort Lauderdale, but I'm sort of in the country, which I love. I don't know how long it will remain country, but it's nice just now.
Well, we had a very hot day here today, too. We had our 95 degrees.
Oh, gosh.
So we have our hot days and our cool days, but we're looking forward now to the falling of the leaves.
Oh, what are the trees like? Are they red yet?
Oh, no. That comes in late September sometime.
Yeah.
September, mid-October.
Yes.
So come back.
Oh, I wish I could. Well, I will keep you from the rest of your people, but I thought I'd like to talk to you.
I appreciate it very, very much. And are you married?
Yes, I am.
And children?
Oh, no, well, I have grandchildren. I'm widowed, actually.
I see.
By the way, I expect you knew Alan Courtney, didn't you?
Oh, of course, yeah.
Well,
He and I are widely divergent in terms of our point of view.
well, so I would imagine, because somebody called him the other night and asked where you were. And he said, he's up in Boston. And they said, what station? And he didn't want to say anything about it, so I thought maybe you weren't very good friends. It was really very amusing.
Well, one of these nights I'll call him and tell him where I am, all right?
I wish you would.
Okay, I'll do that.
All right, goodbye.
Thank you, bye-bye. It's 11:17 on WBZ Radio. That was a call from Fort Lauderdale, Florida. On some occasions, you can hear the station down there. As a matter of fact, I was riding in Florida one night, in southern Florida. And big as life, there was Larry Glick being heard. If you try, you can hear the station. And the station signal these particular nights, I don't know why, is exceptionally good. 254-5678 as we continue with the calls. Hello?
Hello, Jerry.
Yes?
Regarding Johnny Carson, Joey Bishop, and
Merv Griffin?
Merv Griffin, right.
Yes.
The only thing I can say on this is that television is on 18 hours, and this seems to be the only thing that people really enjoy. Being on all at one time does have its difficulties. But
can somebody devise something new? After all, there are. Must it be that the happy medium in terms of the masses? You were talking about, reaching millions of people now.
Right.
It must be. I'm trying to think of the symbol of everybody in the middle there. What the heck's his name now? The comedian. The comedian who's the symbol of everything. Oh yeah, Rodney Dangerfield. He to me symbolizes everything that those talk shows are all about. He looks square. He talks square. He is square. I imagine he's a much hipper guy than he comes off being. But he's a real stand-up comic. He doesn't have any music. He just sits there and tells jokes. Now, it's only a symbol. We're only talking symbols because Rodney Dangerfield happens to be a nice guy. You understand what I mean?
Right.
He symbolizes all of that talk. The talk is inane, joking, fun. I mean, there's hardly ever anything said of any substance, and when it is said of substance, it's usually said by people of no substance.
Well, I kind of disagree with you, especially I know I'm a favorite of Johnny Carson.
Mm-hmm.
And
I like Johnny Carson. I think he's my favorite. I think he's real fun. I like him.
Of the three, I think he's the most interesting, most informative, and
he's not
most versatile.
Yeah, I agree with that, but I don't think he's very well informed.
Oh, I kind of disagree with you there.
I really think he's not well informed. I think that somebody writes the little notes down for him on his index cards, tells him what to do, what to say, how to say it, leading. I know all the interviewer's techniques now. I'll tell you one. Listen, I catch this, and I think it's unprofessional of him to do it, but by far he's the best guy. He says to somebody who's sitting there, for instance, he'll say, somebody told me you were doing a movie in Spain. What do you mean somebody told him? The proper lead is, I understand you're doing a movie in Spain. Is that right? What's it all about? Rather than somebody told me. You'd be surprised how many times Johnny Carson uses that phrase, somebody told him that she's doing a movie in Spain. That annoys me. It annoys me because somebody put it down on a card, and it's unprofessional, and he's much brighter and much sharper. When you see him on the nightclub floor, man, he's a funny human being. And know what? One other unprofessional thing about him. He reads the idiot cards in the monologue during every... when they begin the show?
Begin the show, the advertisements, and so forth.
No. When he comes out and he does his little
his 5-minute monologue.
Right. He reads those off the idiot boards. That's okay with me, too, because after all, you can't memorize those jokes every night. But for some reason, he's holding them at the wrong angle. Somebody's holding him down on the floor so that you can see his eyes obviously reading, the fun lines. Whereas if they were on a teleprompter or if they were close to the lens of the camera, it would look much more professional. I think those are just things that I think everybody sees and now takes for granted. But by far and away, he's a lot better than Joey Bishop and a lot, funnier than Merv Griffin. And they're all on at the same time. Isn't there something, like David Frost is doing half-hour interviews. Do you enjoy those or not?
Sometimes yes, sometimes no.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think that when Johnny, Merv, or Joey do have his guest on, he brings the best out of them. I know I've seen Bob Kennedy, Lindsay,
right,
and a few other people, very distinguished people, and I think he has brought out the more human side of these people.
I think you're right about that.
And this is one of the reasons why I do enjoy the program.
Well, I enjoy it too. I'm not saying I don't enjoy it, but I'm saying, why can't people in New York, all these creative people who are making such wonderful films today? You know, there's a lot of good filmmaking around today. Are you aware of that?
That's what I was going to bring up.
A lot of great movies around if you look for them.
Well, that's why...
why can't they use that creative talent to think up something new for the medium of television?
Well, they've been how long has television been in existence? 30 years?
Well,
nearly 30 years now? 25 to 30 years?
Still. I mean, they can think up a better, even maybe a better arrangement. A guy sitting behind the desk and
it's in reality, it's something similar to the talk programs on radio. It's what people want to hear. They form their own opinions.
Sure.
They see different people.
Right.
And they argue with themselves. Where on the radio, they can argue with somebody else who's going to say this is this, and he's not going to change his mind.
Generally, the talk shows on television are really not what we in radio term talk shows, because they are frothy and fun shows. I look upon them as strictly entertainment and not not talk shows. Here in radio, we look upon talk shows as being hard talk about issues. That is.
But if you were to watch television. And I'd say a good portion of it. I know I'm not a television fan except for a few sports, football, hockey, and so forth. There isn't anything on, even on the educational channel, Channel 2.
It's tough to find something. I grant you that. Right.
There is, like you said, the creative ability in the movies. I was going to bring up a point that people are not watching TV, and evidently this is what they want to see.
Well, David Susskind told me last week, he's an old TV producer and now a movie producer, said you just can't do that in television. They won't allow you to do anything creative because it's the mass medium, it's the Rodney Dangerfield medium, and you've got to get to the Peyton Place crowd. And the only thing you can do anything adult or with great meaning in terms of dramatic use or musicals for that matter is in the films. And that's where all the creative people are going, into filmmaking, rather than to television. They're getting the old, who's back in television? Jack Barry. The $64,000 question. Remember that?
Right.
That's what's coming back, and that's what people devise, those game shows all day long. I'm bugged with it, really. I like to see something creative, even in the talk field. I think there are creative ways of doing much more interesting talk than it is now on television. Even entertaining. I'm not talking about, hard talk. However, I'll keep it because I got the idea, and nobody can have it, right? Thanks for calling, too.
Okay.
It's 11:25. We're on WBZ Radio, the Spirit of 103.
What's going on? 15% off.
What's going on?
20% off. What's going on?
Payne's Great Summer Sale. That's what's going on in Boston, Natick, and Peabody.
Record American Sunday Advertiser, thrifty want ads do the trick quick. 10 words, 4 days, $4. Each additional group of 5 words, just $1.50. Call 482-9420, day or night. Selling, renting, hiring help, or finding a job, you'll do it faster, surer, more economically with thrifty want ads. The largest daily circulation in New England is yours with full exposure for 4 consecutive days. 10 words, 4 days, $4. Call now, 482-9420.
Okay, sir. Take a train, take a bus. 254-5678, our number. Hello.
Hello, Jerry.
Yes.
I work for a large radio station talk show, and I just wondered if don't you think there's a reason for the
You work for a large radio station talk show.
Johnny Carson and the gang.
There's a reason for what?
For the furniture setup. Why do they all have a large?
I don't know. It's somewhat like I guess to the viewer's eye, there's something about it that's comfortable or easy to look at or used to the eye. In other words, the Tonight Show started that thing with the desk and the couch and the jump seat where the girl sits with the short skirts, like you do in the office.
Oh, I see. I understand now. Thank you very much.
Okay. Is she practicing for her own show or what? I didn't have much to say about the furniture. She left before I could finish. What I was about to say is that when you get used to seeing something on the tube, for instance, they tried to turn the Johnny Carson set around and put Carson on one side and move the couch around to the other side. And I think Carson lived with it for one night and turned it around to the other side because somehow the eye does not adjust to that. I don't know what that is. but everybody must sit in the same spot, except that there are people who have tried other ideas. For instance, Les Crane. I don't think it's quite right yet, but Les Crane sits in the middle of kind of a semicircle of a gallery of people around him, and you see the people. And that's not a bad thing, and I feel comfortable in that. What other set ideas are there? I think if you, the David Frost idea, I feel very uncomfortable in all the time. All right, Billy. 2545678 is our number. Hello?
Jerry.
Yes.
I'd like to comment on your statements regarding Merv Griffin and Joey Bishop and so forth.
Yeah, it's not them now. I was commenting.
No, I know, on the setup of the program.
Yeah, and the idea that there must be some creative mind up there that can do better.
Well, to me, it seems to be an analogy between those three and, for instance, your program, Steve Fredericks and Paul Benzequin.
Well, that's, you see, but we have limitations. We can't do entertainment here. We don't have a staff of 10 or 15 musicians. We have our limitations. It's me and you. See, we're limited.
But the setup, basically, and this is what you were commenting on the three TV shows.
Right,
The basic setup is the same for, well, actually all talk shows in this area.
Well, it has to be because we're limited. If we're going to do a talk show, there's only one thing we can do is talk to people and talk about issues. Now, EI doesn't have any guests on. Myself and Steve do have guests, and we mix it up a little bit. And I go out and make telephone calls outside. We try to vary it as much as we can. And, of course, the thing that makes the program different is what makes, I suppose, the Merv, Johnny, and Joey sweepstakes different, perhaps the personalities who do the show. But we're limited. If I had a band, and if I had a choice of guests every night and a large budget to do this on radio, I assure you I would do it a different style if I had the money to do it.
All right, one other comment, Jerry.
Yeah.
I sent you a little letter the other day. I was wondering if you got it was a parody on the first chapter of Genesis.
Yes, I got it.
Regarding
I got it.
Pollution.
I do have it, and I will use it.
I thought you might be interested in it.
It was great. It was a good thing, and I will use it on the night that it's appropriate, all right?
Are you planning on having any shows on pollution of any
Yes,
sort?
we are planning on a show like that. I'm not sure of the night.
Date?
If you call during the day, we can give you a better idea when it's coming up.
Fine, but you are definitely planning.
Positively, right.
Would you announce it beforehand?
Oh, sure.
Good.
Thank you very much.
Okay, bye now.
Take a train, take a bus, grab a cab, please do anything. But don't miss J.M. Field's 6th annual Sidewalk sale. The sale is so spectacular that it has to be held outdoors. Now in progress in Natick and Medford. Values, listen, a famous make 180 square inch all-channel portable TV, $88. An Emerson 295 square inch color console TV featuring automatic fine-tuning, a choice of 3 cabinets, Danish, Colonial, and Mediterranean regularly, $559.95, now $398, $398. A giant capacity 18-pound Kelvinator heavy-duty 40 automatic washer, $178, and an RCA Victor 4-speaker, 4-speed stereo console, $98. Now remember, J.M. Fields, no hidden charges, free delivery, free service, charge you to use J.M. Fields' convenient payment plan. J.M. Fields in Natick and Medford, also in Norwell, Swampscott, Haverhill, and Chelmsford, and in New Hampshire, in Newington, Manchester, and Salem. What station?
WBZ, the spirit of 103.
And WBZ FM, Group W, Westinghouse Broadcasting in Boston. This is Jerry Williams here for this hour only tonight. The exhibition game between the Patriots and the Detroit Lions. Final score, Patriots 22. The Detroit Lions 22 and the Patriots 6. I got you a little anxious about it, didn't I, huh? 9, was it? 9, I'm sorry. 22-9 was the final score. And listen, there'll be better days. There'll be better days. I'm telling you, I'm making a prediction that the Patriots are going to be a contender this year. And listen, I'm the guy who backed Stevenson twice for president, Johnny Powers for mayor twice, and I voted for Dewey twice. So when you have a prediction coming from me, let me tell you, make a bet on it.
This is John M. Cunningham. You've probably heard me talking about Reliable Fence. I hope you've taken my suggestion and visited the new Reliable Showroom of Fencing. If you're interested in a new fence, it's a must. You owe it to yourself to see everything available in fencing, and the place to see fencing is Reliable. Reliable also insures your fence against rot and termites with the world's most famous insurance company for as long as you own your home. That's Reliable, Route 53, Norwell.
This is old reliable Jerry Williams as we continue till midnight tonight. Larry Glick takes over at 5 minutes past the hour. Hello? Hello?
Hello, Jerry?
Yes, sir?
What's the story on this Vietnam War? They're taking 25 or 30,000 men home, but they're still sending them over there.
Well, there are some people who are complaining about it. Senator Gore is one of them, and I suppose there are those doves in the Senate who are aware of it and keeping their eye on it. I don't know what the score is.
I got a young fellow that's going Saturday. When he got word to go about a month ago, they were going to take him another 100,000 home. I think the president's talking out of both sides of his mouth.
And is he going to Vietnam?
He's going to Da Nang.
He's been told that.
He's been told that, yeah, his orders to go. He's leaving Saturday from California. Camp Pendleton.
I don't know what the score is. I know there.
And the address that he has now is the 3rd Replacement Battalion. So, my God, this must have been the 3rd replacement they're sending over there.
Well, you know what they are doing? They are supposed to be diminishing the total force, and they're replacing kids who are over there for their tour of duty all the time. So those who are going over there are supposed to be replacing the force that's staying, and evidently they're supposed to be diminishing the force at the same time. Now, whether they're doing that, I, sir, really do not know.
Yeah, I see.
I'd like to see your son stay right where he is, at home.
Well, I lost one in the Korean situation, so would I.
And they got this young fella got no consideration as a result of that?
No, not a bit. Not a bit. Not a bit. We got him laid over for a month or so up here to the Boston Navy Yard, but he's going over now.
Is he in the Navy?
No, Marines.
Marines.
Which makes it worse.
Oh, dear.
You know?
Well, if somebody has an answer to it, I hope they'll phone in, and I wish your son a lot of good luck.
Okay, thank you very much.
Bye-bye. 26 minutes to midnight. What stupidity. A guy loses a son in the Korean War and now sends more cannon fodder over there to the Vietnam War. For what? Hello?
Hi, good evening.
Yes.
Mr. Williams?
Yes.
I bet you voted for Stevenson, too.
I voted for Stevenson.
I wish he had gotten it.
Twice, right.
He was a wonderful
I'm
man.
proud of those votes, too, I tell you.
Yeah, you better be. You know, you're right. I don't always agree with you, but that you pick one of the things that bugs me about Johnny Carson. He has a way of turning his head from side to side when he's doing his monologue and very cozily peeking at the cards.
He's reading, yeah.
Yeah, well, he's not aware, and why his producer doesn't tell him what he's doing.
Well, he's been doing that now for 10 years.
Right. It's the most amazing thing because he's really a professional.
Of course he is. He's one of the all-time great pros.
So this is a little weakness that.
Isn't that strange that he should do that?
Strange.
You know, I would be very much aware of that. As a matter of fact, when I was on the tube here for about a year, I was aware of the fact that if I you just do something.
Well, you look straight ahead.
Yeah, well, let me tell you, if you don't, even a flinch of the eye, kind of look off for a second.
Right. The camera is wicked.
Right. It takes into cognizance that, and man, you're caught looking somewhere where you shouldn't.
Right.
So when cards were ever made for me, I never worked from cards, but when cards were made for me to do a promotion of some sort, and I had to sit on a stool and I had to read exactly because I had to get it in a 20-second portion of time, I told him, hold it even with the camera or use a teleprompter because then you appear to be looking directly into the lens. Otherwise, you're going to look like Johnny Carson.
Right. May I say something else?
I'm glad that some people who are unprofessional, who are not professionals, I should say, are seeing the same thing that I say.
Yes. Oh, yes. You know who I think is really good and who keeps control of his program himself at all times, and that's David Frost. Have you watched him?
I get to see him on occasion.
Well, he had Al Cap on this afternoon. And he disagreed with him violently because Cap took, you know how Cap is.
Yeah.
He's quite opinionated, and he took off on some of the young people in the audience. And Frost took exception to that. He said he thought he had gone a little bit too far since he had made his stand at the beginning, you know, his speech, and you know how he thinks. Well, right or wrong, I mean, this is his opinion. But he wouldn't allow for anybody else to have any opinion different from his. And Frost spoke to him quite honestly about the fact that he was doing just that. And I like that. instead of just sitting there and agreeing.
Mm-hmm.
I thought he was good. I don't know how well he's going over with
I don't know either.
public, really.
I think there's a certain something about David Frost, and there's something about all human beings when they get on television.
Yeah.
Some of them just score, and others, even though they're bright
Well, what about
and do well, do not score.
What about Cabot? I think he's very clever.
Well,
And
there's
he
there's a
won't
certain
make it.
coolness about him. I don't know
There's
what
a
that
coolness
is.
about him that the public can't seem to identify with.
I don't know quite what that is, and I think one of the things is the attempt to be clever with every line you say.
Is that it?
Dick Cabot
Because
had
I think he's very clever.
Oh,
really.
he is. He's a writer, and he thinks in terms of one-liners and funny sayings all the time. And there was an attempt by him to say something clever every time you open your mouth.
Well, maybe that's it. That alienates his listeners.
And it's not possible to do that. What you have to do is be neutral a good deal of the time. Just ask the right questions.
Well, I think that's the charm that Carson has in a way.
Well, somebody told me that... See, that's a Johnny Carson foible, too. Somebody told me that you were going to make a movie in Spain. Not somebody told me.
Yes,
I understand you're going to make a movie in Spain.
But don't you think that everybody has their little sort of little idiosyncrasies?
But an old pro like him,
Yeah, no, but
somebody ought to tell him.
you can't even explain the eyes on that.
That's right.
You see?
Well, I'm glad you noticed.
Yes.
Thanks very much, Tim. I'm glad you can't see my eyes now, all right?
I'm going to watch you.
See you later on.
Okay.
22 minutes to midnight on WBZ. Paragon Park's bargain days every Tuesday and Friday. Ride all day. All rides 1 to 5 p.m. for $1.50 or all night 7 p.m. to closing for $1.95. Paragon Park, Nantasket Beach.
Now, the lowdown on traffic safety with BZ's Joe Green.
Nighttime driving is the most dangerous. Switch headlights to low beam when an oncoming vehicle is within 500 feet or when a vehicle you are overtaking is within 200 feet. Joe Green from the BZ Copter.
This is Jerry Williams speaking to you from my copter high above the Southeast Expressway when I'm giving you the rundown.
Don't you like Joe Green telling you that you're in trouble when you're there? I mean, what can you do about it then, huh? Speaking about being in trouble, who's that fellow with, Regis, whatever his name is? Oh, dear. Oh, dear. Isn't he? And Joey Bishop. Joey Bishop, I think, is a funny guy when placed in a situation comedy. When he was doing situation comedy, he was a fun guy. And then, whenever I saw him on the nightclub floor, also kind of a sad-faced, fun fellow. Then when he took over the Joey Bishop show on ABC, he moved into different cycles. First, he was trying very hard. They moved in a couple of serious guests, and they saw that he just didn't have it to interview serious guests, so he started playing more on name entertainment talent. And that's what he now does. But there's a funny quality that has come over Joey Bishop in the last year. I don't know what that's all about, but he's no longer fun. It seems to me I can't have fun with him anymore. And he wears the same clothes every night, too, and that bugs me, too. 20 minutes to midnight on WBZ. Hello?
Hello, Mr. Williams.
Yes.
Yeah, I agree with you on the talk shows at night. But the thing that really gripes me even more than them is the commercials in which the husband or the breadwinner is made out to be such a goof or a moron. I don't know. I can give you examples, but I don't know if I'd get if this is permissible or not.
Well, you don't have to mention the product. You can just go on and
the one with the...
I like the guy who opens the medicine chest and sees the other guy
Right,
on the other
that
side.
one there, and he has to call his wife right away, or the one with the little car that, and he has to pick up his feet and say, "Terrific," like a real moron, or the one with he's got a suggestion for his boss, and he tells him to put it in the suggestion box. I mean, this guy he looks like a complete goof, or the guy can't even wash the floor correctly.
Well, you see, that's supposed to be the mirror of blue-collar workers.
Yeah, but it isn't. I mean, I'm a semi-blue collar, and I don't know. I just it's really insulting. It's gotten to the point now that I can't watch TV.
Well,
I feel like throwing something at it.
Let me clue you. That sells the product, and if people didn't react to the commercial and buy the product, they wouldn't do that. They do that because you react. I mean, generally speaking. People do react to it. For instance, there's an ugly woman. Did you see If It's Tuesday, This Must Be Belgium? Did you see that movie?
No, I didn't. I didn't see that.
Well, there's a gal who's not a very handsome-looking chick. She was in this movie, and she also does the gal who looks like the average housewife.
Yeah.
And she's kind of ugly. I mean, she is seriously ugly. And this is supposed to be, every housewife. Every homemaker is mirrored by them. They look at them, this woman saying, well, I must look like her. And it evidently sells the product. Now, that's the problem. It sells the product. If it didn't sell the product, they wouldn't do it.
Do you really think that's it? I mean,
it sells
is
the
it
product.
because the woman spends the money in the house? Is this why they want to make the man so stupid?
I don't know. It
God,
sells
really
the product.
Huh?
It does sell the product.
I mean, I'd buy the product if it was sold, in a different manner. I think a lot quicker than I would this way. When I go shopping with my wife, I'll avoid a product that's put on in this respect.
Awful lot.
Seriously. Seriously.
Yeah. People in New York who devise those commercials, who think them up, who plot them and plan them, put a great deal of head work and leg work into doing those things and filming them, seeing that they're properly done, they're properly filmed, properly recorded. There's an awful lot of work that goes into that.
Well, I imagine there is.
And they sit around and discuss it, and they go back and forth with it, and they choose the actors and the people who are supposed to do it. And you believe me, the only thing they want to do is sell the product.
Oh, boy.
So I don't know, I guess you can't take them too seriously, but it's what you say. Everybody's supposed to look like a goofball. Well, good. I'm glad you called about it.
Okay,
thank you very much.
Mr. Wynn. Yep.
17 minutes to midnight. Here's the deal you want now. At the terms you want now. You bet you can save now at Westminster Dodge, 720 Morrissey Boulevard in Dorchester. Westminster is celebrating their 40th anniversary. Now, that's a heck of a record to be in business for 40 years. A lot of businesses don't last 2. 1. Westminster in business for 40, selling Dodge. And there is no doubt about it, you save money buying new 69 Dodges now. I can't tell you that if it's not so. Let me give you one indication. A brand new 69 Dodge Dart Swinger 2-door hardtop for the unbelievably low price of $2,249. And a brand new 69 Coronet 2-door sedan with automatic molding group power steering for the low price of $26.29. Now, you can come in and wheel and deal on anything now. At the end of the year, bank financing is available. Just drive in the door. You're dealing with Westminster Dodge, Boston's oldest and largest Dodge and Dodge truck dealer. You can save now. That's no advertising gimmick. It's the truth. Westminster Dodge, 720 Morrissey Boulevard, Dorchester. Let's continue at 16 minutes to midnight. Hello? Hello?
Jerry.
Yes.
Yes. I appreciate the new program, the new hours, but what about the football and sports season? That's going to cut you out?
Yes.
You're going to be off then?
I'll be on around the games.
After it?
After the games, right?
Right.
So most of the times when there's a Bruins game or a Celtics game, depending on the time, we'll be on the air almost 2 hours. On the other nights, we'll be here 4.
Right.
Okay?
On Johnny Carson.
Yeah.
As a professional, and the related issue, as a professional, you know that the networks are trying to get the audience. But for a long time,
I understand that.
Channel 5 was running movies.
Right.
And they weren't getting anywhere, evidently, or they wouldn't have put Merv on.
Well, that's not true. Now, wait a minute. See, here's what happens. CBS bought Merv Griffin. They said, well, we're going to get into the fight, so to speak. We're going to get into the sweepstakes. Now, somebody's going to get down the drain in that nighttime spot. Seems to me it's going to be Joey Bishop. That Merv will survive, and Johnny Carson will survive. And here, you want the ratings last week?
Sure.
The early ratings, I see, do not bode well, it says, for Merv Griffin. After winning over Johnny Carson on his premiere night Monday, he fell backward his next 2 outings, was trounced by his NBC foe, 8.8 to 5.3 and 8.1 to 3.2. Of course, these are just the New York overnight Nielsen's, and they may not be borne out over the rest of the country. The chief sufferer of the three-way scrap was Joey Bishop, who was down to 2.0, 1.0, and 2.0 on 3 nights. Meanwhile, people are complaining there's too much late-night talking, and movie fans are taking a licking. Now, Channel 56, I understand, is running a movie at this time, and probably they'll pick up a good many listeners who are bugged about the fact that all 3 guys are on at the same time. Channel 5, the WHDH, doesn't have any choice. They are a CBS affiliate, and they are kind of compelled to do this because it's one of CBS's big things for the fall. There are some stations that are affiliated with CBS throughout the country that may not take the Merv Griffin show because they have a very lucrative late movie, and people are watching it in preference to some other things, or they have a good deal of business advertising in that late movie. But WHDH is one of their prime outlets, so they are kind of committed to CBS to go along with it. And they don't have any great choice in the matter.
Yeah, well, like, I know I work all day, and you come home, and you like to be entertained or something like that. You know, I work late until about 10, then I come home and watch the news, and you get what's going on, and then you like to be entertained. And what's wrong with that?
But I'm for entertainment, right, but how much at the same time?
Right, so somebody will eventually go down the drain anyway.
Well, somebody's going to get down the drain, and it's unnecessary, isn't it? It really is unnecessary.
Somebody is.
Now, for instance, Jackie Gleason is up against Andy Williams this season. Now, what for? You know why?
The money.
I'm for the money, but...
That's what they're all fighting for.
You know, Andy Williams could be used somewhere else. Jackie Gleason has had that spot for a long time, and there are people who don't like Jackie Gleason who would like to watch some other kind of show at that time. Maybe not a musical type of thing, and Andy Williams can be on some other time.
Yeah, but this is all turning talk. You know, Dick Cavett, Mike Douglas, David Frost, they're all doing it.
Yeah, what's your reaction to that kind of change?
Well, I think most of it is interesting, but there are some that, like you say, alienate you, just like there are in talk people. Like, I know my father can't stand to listen to you and would rather listen to EEI, and I always listen to you, and stuff like that.
You know, we'd rather your father listen to EEI and you listen to me.
That's what I tell him. Are you familiar with the School of Journalism in the Army at all?
No.
No.
Not in the Army. You going into the Army?
I don't know. I would like to get into broadcasting, and I figure a journalism background, and I figure I better get the Army out of the way anyway.
Well, if you're going to go, you might as well take something there that is going to be useful, and there is Armed Forces Radio, and maybe you can get into that, maybe.
That's where Larry started, isn't it?
Right. There are a lot of guys who started during... I'm one of the few who never served in Armed Forces Radio, but anytime there was a PA system around, I was on it.
Yeah. What do you think of the commercial schools like Northeast and those in...
Well, I would prefer that a young person go to...
a real journalism background?
Well, go to Boston University School of Public Relations and Communications, where you get a degree along with it. Northwestern University in Chicago has a great communication school. You get a degree, you get a liberal arts education along with your broadcast training. I think it's very, very important. However, there are those who don't want that, who can't get into college, and the other schools are for those people.
Right.
Okay, good to talk to you. I got to go now. Thank you very much. 10 minutes to midnight on WBZ. The spirit of 103. When vacation finally comes along, don't you always like to find something that can make traveling more convenient and more pleasant? Well, you found it. Penn Central Turbo Service for vacation travelers. Additional trains between Boston and New York each weekend from now until September the 8th. Turbo Service gets you to New York in just 3 hours and 39 minutes and in complete luxury. The cars are spacious. The seats are deep and comfortable. You can get a delicious meal, snack, or drink as you start your vacation restfully. The Turbo Service Vacation Special leaves Boston at 11:25 Friday morning. For the full schedule, please see the timetable, and when you get to New York, enjoy a pleasant stay at one of the 4 famous Realty hotels, the New Roosevelt, New Berkeley, New Biltmore, and New Commodore, all brightly renovated and all with low, low summer rates. So here's to a happy vacation and a good start on the Turbo Service Vacation Special. Turbo Service is sponsored by the U.S. Department of Transportation in cooperation with the Penn Central Railroad.
When the delivery boy shows up with your week's food shopping, it sure looks like a lot of groceries. But does it look like even more when you try to cram it into your refrigerator? If you had a Westinghouse frost-free 25 side-by-side refrigerator freezer, you'd have enough storage space to feed a family of 5 for 3 weeks. Yet the Westinghouse side-by-side is less than a yard wide. I'm Frank Gifford, asking you to compare this kind of refrigeration space and compare other features before you buy. For instance, with the Westinghouse automatic ice maker, you would never have to borrow ice cubes again. This Westinghouse ice maker is optional, so you can buy it with the refrigerator now or later. Compare the Westinghouse 7-Day Meat Keeper. It keeps 16 pounds of meat fresh for a full week without freezing. Compare storage capacity, ice maker, meat keeper. Compare all the features. You will buy Westinghouse. You can be sure if it's Westinghouse.
I think some people are missing the point of what I said a little bit earlier about Johnny Carson, Joey Bishop, and Merv Griffin. Even though my dish of tea would be Johnny Carson in the main, is that there is no creativity in the production of these programs. They all look alike, sound alike, are alike, vying for guests that are alike, look alike, and sound alike. And there's no, it's all the same. I mean, no creativity in that. I think the communications industry is full of creative people if they were given a little chance to move. Did you read the New York Times this past week, Sunday? Mason Williams. Is that around? Maybe you could find me that section before we go off the air. Mason, the theatrical section of the New York Times, might be in the newsroom. Yep. The theatrical section of the New York Times. Oh, come on now. That's not nice. 8 minutes to midnight. Let's continue. Hello?
Hello, Jerry.
Yes.
I believe I got a good suggestion how to liven up the talk shows.
How's that?
Devote a segment of each program and have a few topless girls come out and parade around.
Hey, that'd be groovy.
You think so?
Oh, that'd be a groove. Right. That'd be it.
Hey, I should sell that idea.
But it's certainly better than looking at Regis Philbin, that's for sure. Thanks for calling. 254-5678. Hello?
Hello, Jerry.
Yes.
I've got an idea for the Johnny Carson thing, and Merv Griffin, how to make it different. Why not televise the Larry Glick show?
Hey, there's an idea. With his old sidekick, Jerry Williams. I'll be his sidekick.
Yeah.
I'll be his Regis Philbin.
Great idea.
Hey, you got an idea there, and I'm going to put it to the management, and if I'm not working tomorrow night, you'll understand what happened, all right?
Fantastic.
Thanks very much. Right, 7 minutes to midnight on WBZ. I tell you, these people out there have got a lot of great ideas. We're going to ship them all to NBC or CBS or ABC and get rid of them from Westinghouse. We don't need them here, right? 254-5678. Hello?
Hello?
Yes, Jerry
Mr.
Williams. Yes.
I agree with you about the late-night TV shows. And I think you have a very interesting program, much interesting than we have on television.
Well, that's kind of you. Thank you.
And your guests are very interesting. It's very educational compared to what you find on the late-night TV shows.
Yeah, but at the same time, when I'm labeled educational, I start to get worried.
Well, I mean, interesting guests, besides some of the guests they have on television today.
I'm not against entertainment. I like to be entertained, and even foolishly entertained at times. And
yeah, but some of the guests they have get ridiculous.
I'm tired of seeing Elisa Kashi, I'll tell you that.
Yes, and Monty Rock III.
Oh, yes, I'm tired of seeing him. And I'm tired of Rodney Dangerfield. And I'm tired of a lot of the people who are on. I mean, what they're doing is they're milking all of that talent dry. And in about a year, with all the people, they must have to go through 30 people a week on each show. So that's 90 people a week that have to be seen on the 3 networks. I mean, they're going to really eat up all the talent that there is around. And the thing will go down the drain, all of it, at one time.
That's right. Did you see, do you remember Johnny Carson when he had the afternoon show?
Yeah, of course I do.
Yeah, that was, he was much better.
It was a fun show, right.
Right.
It was a fun show. You get to a certain point where you're such a big superstar that it does work on your ego. As a matter of fact, I think if you watched Johnny Carson 10 or 11 years ago on the show, you'd see that he was trying a little more than he is today.